sitting here like trying to plan the next one. I'm serious. Literally was like, tell them we can get the floor seats for the next one. I was like, Shonda's like, we're going. I don't care, bro. Look, the next WWE event, I'm even talking about trying to travel. Like, bro, where can we go? I need Sean. I need more. Do this to me.
So back in the day, I actually was. I actually did go. My first wrestling show I ever went to was a SmackDown. It was actually the last taped SmackDown before they went back to live SmackDowns, which, by the way, we are live, mother. But anyway, that's not going to stop me from finishing my story. We got to go to SmackDown. We were literally the second row. So literally there was only one row of chairs and then the barricade. Like you could literally see these guys sweat. Like that's how close we were. And it's like, man, as cool as it was going to SummerSlam, we could, it was kind of like looking at ants doing somersaults and stuff. But at the same time, it was incredible. But yeah, going to the floor,
and that lonely DJ.
Oh, here there's even a photo of me on TV that I just found. You want to see it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Please. Bro, remember the lonely DJ from SummerSlam? Look at Sean! This is great.
You know what's funny? You know what he literally just did? He literally took the announcer's table and just like destroyed it. I was like, not the Spanish announcer's table.
Bro, it was so real to see like my first chair shots live. To see someone go through the tables like several times.
It was so wholesome, bro. When they were just when everyone was just like, get the table.
Yeah, it was dope. But thank you, KDA. I see some of the regulars in the comments already, man. I am excited. I'm gonna let Sean do this open, but we're gonna talk about does Cade Cunningham raise these team expectations, the starters and the closers in the Lions season. What's good, Brody?
One more thing. This is not zoomed. These were our seats.
We got to be there.
Like when I tell you could see these guys sweat, you could literally see these sweat.
Yeah, we got to be up front next time, bro. I want that lifestyle. We need that. Yeah,
it's a good time. I'm telling you. But anyways, what up, though? Welcome to Woodward Pistons Table Talk for today, Thursday, August 10th, 2023, a.k.a. the prime time of the basketball year, of the basketball calendar. I couldn't say that more sarcastically. I'm one of your hosts, John Murphy, alongside my guy. What up, By the way, shout out Carl Collins. Killed it with his season hype video that dropped today. If you have not seen it yet, be sure you go over to Carl Collins Productions on YouTube, his Twitter. Share that all over social media. Let's get that thing.
Proud of Carl, man. I'm proud of you guys.
It's cool to see the improvement and like how he's evolved throughout time. You know what I mean?
Yep. Just continues to. I don't even want to call it get better. I guess I'll just say more consistent and continuing to crush, which is the current and the refrain that you're gonna hear from me. Stay consistent, continue to crush, man. You guys are all talented. And Carl, like, fabulous job, man. I hope the Lions reach out. I hope that you're the individual that they go with. There's nobody more talented in this game.
Yeah, I mean, like Carl's work, it started with these incredible edits and these awesome mixtapes and stuff. Now he's become this immaculate storyteller and is really starting to, he's more than just editing a video. He's telling a freaking story with that mug. You know what I mean? He's getting people excited.
But when is he gonna start narrating this stuff? I mean, he has that baby maker voice, and
the second he can afford the child support checks, because once he can get that voice over the air, we talked about how that thing can impregnate voices. You want to put that over the airwaves, Kool-Aid?
Carl's gonna be just walking around and like
the great baby boom of 2023.
I'm glad he's getting love too, man. Get that man his love, bro. Shout out to Carl, man. Yo, he does a lot for us,
Uh,
man. It's just one of those regulars. And when we get things going on what we're sports with table talk, we're gonna get through a little bit of Lions season. You're gonna see Carl, you're gonna see Sean, you're gonna see some of these guys showing up, man. And I can't wait to really get this going because these gentlemen, man, along with people like Jalen, Steve of Resball Pod, and others, man, they have just become almost like I keep saying almost like they've become family. We don't. This is a labor of love, which means everything that we do together is just because of what we think of each other and how we try and push. So it's like, yo, I appreciate you all. I appreciate how much you guys work and what you bring to this content creation game. It's top notch, man. It's next level. And to see you all get more confident in your lanes, I'm just personally proud, man. So definitely keep pushing, Carl. Bro, you're doing awesome. Broder in the building too, man. Like, I gotta shout him out too. Matt Broder was one of just the nicest people I met. We were doing an event down at the Midway. We're gonna get into the Pistons talk, but I gotta kind of just
he's really
shout him
too
out.
nice. It's almost like
Yeah.
you took a lab. It's like if you went in a lab and you're like, all right, create the nicest son of a bitch who's ever lived. Broder just is like printed instantly. He's like, hey, what's
I
going
felt like a
on,
bad
man?
person
Great
when
to
I
see
first
you.
met.
And I'm like, Broder, how are you always this happy? I love it.
I felt like a bad person when I first met him. I was like, bro, does my Kool-Aid jar have a crack in it? Like, I'm like, my gosh, man, Broder's he's an awesome human. He's
Yeah.
covering the Lions for Uber Sports. He is their beat writer. He's doing a fabulous job. We do have a little bit of news. You guys got to tune in tomorrow night to the heavyweights from 5 to 7. I'm going to be guest hosting with the legendary Terry Foster. Matt Broder, he got me kind of queued up for this Lions stuff, man. So I'm ready to get going. Thank you a lot, man. I wanted to make sure that I shouted you out on the stream, man. Thank you for supporting us. I
Let's go,
appreciate you all.
man. Good
Let's rock.
stuff.
And I see Jalen in here. For what? He's out there grinding, man. I'm proud of all y'all, man. Straight up. Keep grinding, bro. I know he got a photo shoot tonight, man. So crush it, bro. Crush it where you are. But Sean, I look, man. I had Rod do this, and I know I asked you to kind of give me your just unadulterated thoughts the other day.
Yeah.
But bro, please just give me your unadulterated thoughts on Cade Cunningham, bro. Just whatever comes to mind.
Kool-Aid, for the past 8 to 9 months, it feels like we've been collectively getting gaslit by talking about like how awesome this guy's looked when he's healthy. And then everyone's just like, yeah, but injury, like injury prone. It's like, okay, but like if you took the 5 seconds to look into the injury, look into the player, like anything about the situation, he would say, oh, this is actually really intriguing. Now, granted, a lot of times you got to see it to believe it. And, I think seeing it in the fashion that they did when it's pretty clear when all reports are coming out, Amari Sankofa pretty much confirmed Cade was the best player on the court at Team USA. Like not just like Team USA Select, he was the best player between the two teams. And, that's including a guy named Anthony Edwards, who everyone's talking about like being the next great American star. That's including a guy like Tyrese Halliburton, who just made his first All-Star appearance last year. That includes guys like Cam Johnson, who just got paid $100 million. I mean, that says a lot, right? So I think
I'm just over here cheesing, bro. I can listen to this all day long. Just let
I'm
keep going, bro.
I'm just glad that people are waking up to it. And kind of, when I reported that Team USA had interest in Cade, that's why. If anything, it's just like you go in, and we talked about how this could potentially be a benefit for these guys, how we hope it's an experience that they can maximize, they can get momentum coming out of. What bigger momentum is there than being the only 2 players that the media really talked about out of the USA Select team? Like there was a levy of young stars. Like Jalen Green was on that team and played well. Like there were other guys who were not playing bad basketball. Jalen Williams, who's another rising, young star, was on the court. My boy Chet Holmgren, who I literally look for reasons to simp for, was on that team. And the only two guys we talked about from that weekend
That
are
boy Sean's
Cade
a
and
star.
Jalen Duren. And those guys are on the same mother team. But hey,
But maybe I'm just dumb.
Look, bro. It's just like that meme. Like, nice, nice. Puts a smile on my face, man. Nice. Like, that's what it is because we're sitting here taking this for granted, bro. I think some people sit here and talk about Cade Cunningham and Jalen Duren on the select team like it's a summer league. This is the Team USA select team, bro.
yeah,
And
they weren't
Cade was
going
tagged
against
to be on the actual team, and
they
they're
weren't going up
balling out.
against they weren't going up against DoorDash drivers and shoe carnival reps. You know what I mean? They were going up against all NBA talent. He was driving against the defensive player of the year in Jaren Jackson. Like he was going up against Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson. Literally, if you took the best, even though we didn't send our overall best players, I would argue we set our best defensive talent, and Cade was cooking all of them. So like
Cooking, bro. In his own vibe, man. I said this with Rod. I said this with you. I keep hearing people, and I get it. I understand. They're like, oh, let him play that Luka role. This is like the media reports, and I think it's because a lot of people are a little bit unfamiliar with Cade's role. I looked at it, I was like, he's just playing the Cade role. This is what Cade does. And you know why I don't think that a lot of those other people on his own team were getting talked about too much more? It's because their skills were all kind of based off of what Cade Cunningham was doing for them as that connector. When you look at the highlights, you see Jalen Green catching lobs and passes and layups, like wide open attempts. Like, why is Jalen Green wide open? Oh, Cade Cunningham got him open.
He was controlling the entire flow of the game for all 10 players.
Yep. And the reason why Jalen Duren got a little noise is why? Because of the things that Cade Cunningham can't control, but Jalen Duren can, like second chance attempts, like that quick second jump, like that I'm just stronger than you, I'm a bully, that type of stuff, man. He's two guys are at the USA select team right now, man, doing work. That should excite people. That we shouldn't be sitting, to me, we shouldn't temper expectations, just be like, oh, well, it's just this. This is a good development for these two young players. And I was sitting here thinking, for Jaden Ivey, I think he's agitated, bro.
Yeah, dude. Jalen Duren, like really quick before we get to Ivy, Jalen Duren's a monster, dude. You know those movies where it was like Godzilla versus Kong? Like I swear the threequel is going to be Godzilla versus Kong versus Jalen Duren, because that dude's a freaking monster. Like my gosh, like. But yeah, I mean, with Jaden Ivey, I think, I think he has a luxurious position where he doesn't have to come out and be the number one guy for them this season. He does get to fly a little bit under the radar, but I do think in the same light, I do think people are writing off what he did in year one and not considering it because of the fact that the team didn't have the record that people were expecting. And also, again, seeing all these rankings about how Benedict Mathurin was, the better rookie when we have done borderline, like, how Steve's been doing these dissertations of late. I feel like we did at least 4 dissertations on how Jaden Ivey was a better rookie than Benedict Mathurin. How you can't even argue statistically that Benedict Mathurin was the lesser of the two play, like just from the output from everything they were doing. Like it was literally everything.
Bro, it's just a side note. Remember, I think I had you on one of these episodes, even on Believe, which we're about to get that jumping again soon. I did 3 or 4 episodes in 10-game increments where we continued to show. Outside of that early stretch of games, that quick early stretch of games, Jaden Ivey had continued to be not just the better player, but the better improving player as well. So he continued to get better month by month by month, and all of his metrics got better. It wasn't just, people would say things like, oh, well, he's just a good player on a bad team, or a middling player with no talent, so he's gonna get all the shots. Yeah, but his field goal percentage went up. Yeah, but his 3-point percentage went up. Yeah, but his assist game went up with no talent. We saw him go out there and was getting, like, for a stretch of games, like 7 to 11, 7 to 12 assists per game on a squad with G Leaguers on it, bro. Come on.
You know what else? Like, you know what else bothers me? Like, we talk about this team, like the biggest topic of conversation, nationally about this team, when you talk about the biggest flaw that this roster has, yeah, I mean, pretty much. I mean, like you're not wrong. That's essentially what happened. I mean, Caden Duran were like, "Hey, this is what y'all gonna have to deal with when you come back to
Jalen
training
Green
camp.
played
Have
the Jaden
fun."
Ivey role.
Yeah, but like I think in all seriousness, gosh dang it, that just made me lose my train of thought.
Oh man, we're talking about with Ivy, man, and Cade and Duran as well.
I really thought that was gonna help me get it back. It did not. So I'm sure if it was good, it will be right there. But as of right now, I oh yes, yes. Okay. So with Cade, the biggest thing people talk about is like, oh well, he's not a good shooter. I am gonna go out on a limb, and again, I've been hammering home this point. I could be wrong, but I'm gonna wager that having a bad shin, a bad wheel, so to speak, was not helping with his jump shot. And again, as someone who watched way too much Cade Cunningham and went back and watched games and you look at his shot, what was the most common miss he had, Kool-Aid? Right off the front of the rim.
Mhm.
Couldn't quite get it into the cup. Now that he has that lift back, now that he has the life in his legs, he's healthy, he isn't feeling pain. I mean, everything they've been saying is that the shot's looking good. I have no reason to believe that he won't be a better shooter this season. Like
Yeah.
I think it's a way overblown narrative,
I,
personally.
well, it wouldn't be overblown. It's not overblown now because he went and got the surgery, because they're actually addressing it. If they didn't, you know what I'm saying? I think now I'm saying now it can be overblown, but if they didn't, then it's like, yo, you guys got to do something about this, because what you
Right.
see with Cade is that his shot is pure. The closer he gets to the rim, the better the shot is, which is ironic because you look at guys like Killian Hayes and it feels like it's almost in reverse. But the closer, and I don't mean just layups, I mean like his actual shot. So his mid range,
There
I didn't mean to give a straight like
there's a
that. I'm
lot
sorry,
about
Killian Hayes.
Killian Hayes that feels like it's in reverse, but that is a whole other conversation.
but but like his mid range and his 3-point shot, or at least like kind of that college 3-point shot area, looks good. But the further back he gets is where, like you're talking about, you can start to notice most guys are going to have somewhat of an adjustment or struggle to shooting that NBA three. But when you don't have both legs underneath you, the further out you get, the more you're going to have strength, the more you're going to have a steady foundation. And what I kind of notice now is he looks like he's shooting and jumping a little bit more balanced than
Yep.
before. Looks like he has, like you said, just a little bit more kind of spring, not necessarily uber crazy athletic, over what he was prior, but it just looks more solid as a foundational base for a shot. And I'm hoping that that helps the three. I know at the summer runs, people wanted to say, oh, he wasn't really hitting the three. He wasn't really hitting the three. He put his
Right.
hands up because that was like the first three he hit in a while. But it's like, you
Right.
know what? In terms of his shot and how it's looking, in terms of his base and how it's looking, in terms of how he plays as the game is just kind of in a flow, I'm very, very comfortable with how Cade Cunningham is looking.
Well, I mean, even like the way your body works, I mean, you could speak to this more as like a former athlete. Like, if you even have that type of injury, even if it's only just a little nagging injury that's bothering you like slightly, that you're still compensating for it. You're still moving differently. Like, you're still affected by it, on the court. Like, even if Cade was still able to go out and be about 90% Cade Cunningham as far as his maximum output,
Yeah.
I think, the importance of them, because even though that season last year was hell, now the fact that he does look as good as he does, the fact that his legs are as fresh as they are, especially because, and this is a thing again that doesn't get talked about a whole lot, the amount of miles that these guys come into the league with on their legs between AAU and college and high school, like these guys play year round nonstop. And we're seeing more and more
Mhm.
19, 20, 21-year-old kids with stress fractures coming into the league, like Julius Randle. Remember when his leg just collapsed in his rookie year? Like the amount of structural injuries. And granted, Cade's Cade was lucky for all intents and purposes. Because if you're gonna have something that takes you out for a season, a stress fracture in your shin that can easily be repaired and has no long-term like effects in 90% of the cases, that's a lot better than guys tearing their ACLs or, having some form of microscopic knee surgery. You know what I mean? So,
Or even having it break, because we've seen
yeah.
guys in this league have their shins break, and that's a tough one,
Oh,
man. That's a tough one. Or when you have fractures like that, it can weaken other areas, and all of a sudden they're having things like certain knee ailments, certain ankle ailments, certain ligament issues, and things of that nature. For them to go right now and just say, you know what, we are not having a Grant Hill of an experience with our new age Grant Hill, that to me is just like, you know what, fabuloso to you, Detroit Pistons,
they
because
said, hell no.
yeah, hell no. I'm serious. Think about it, man. Especially when you're coming off of the Blake Blake Griffin fiasco. That was a good one. Off the Blake Griffin
Oh,
fiasco, man.
gosh, dang it.
When you coming off of that, it's just like your medical staff needs an absolute win, bro. It needs an absolute win. And I believe that Cade Cunningham is going to be that win. When I look at him, I see the same guy, the same type of guy that should have the same type of expectations, hoopla and fanfare as younger players when they came into the league, like a John Morant, like a Luka
Right.
Doncic. I do believe that. And I think that with this mix of talent, Cade Cunningham absolutely raises this team's expectations,
And
especially based off what we're seeing out of Team USA.
you know what somehow still gets lost in translation on a regular basis, Kool-Aid? Like
What
something
up,
that
though, bro?
that somehow we forget about? Who's coaching him?
We don't bring him up enough. We don't bring up the staff enough. Jared Jack,
Monty
Silas,
Mother
Monty,
Williams.
with
Like,
Silas, in the rest of that staff,
he took
they're
on he took on he's taking on Cade at about the same time in his career that he took over Devin Booker. And I would argue that Cade is more is at a is at this stage, like where Devin was at, then versus where Cade's at right now. I could argue Cade's a more polished player at this point in his career.
potentially more all around, especially when you're talking about the two-way ability of Cade Cunningham to play defense. Which, Sean, that's something we continue to talk about. Early on, there were certain trends that we tried to follow, like who is Cade Cunningham as a player and how does his loss affect the Pistons? And instead of people going and realizing how transformative he is and in what ways, one of the biggest things we started to say is, listen, guys, this guy is 6'6" with a pretty decent wingspan, pretty active hands in the passing lane. He's getting blocks. He's able to hold his own against fours and fives in a pinch. He was putting, as Jeff Iafredi always says, he was putting Evan Mobley in a phone booth his rookie season, bro. Like those types of things. Scotty Barnes,
And
no,
Colin
you're no
Cowherd, his
competition.
dumbass,
What'd
said
you
that
say?
he was the number one pick that had no impact on his team. What a
Like,
freaking moron.
yep, yep, yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It's like that defensive impact of Cade Cunningham, along with his connector ability, his ability to just turn it up whenever he wants to, his ability to help to elevate, honestly, the talent of his team around him, man, like the performance of the team around him. Yeah, I like what he is right now. And you're right. When you're talking about Monty Williams and what he was able to do prior, when you're talking about Silas, who actually got an opportunity to work with other younger players as well out in Houston and other areas, when you're talking about Jared Jack, you know what I'm
I
talking, you
don't
talking
know
about
if
a
"got
shooter.
to" is the terminology for
What'd you say?
Steven there. He said he got to work with some young players in Houston. I don't know if "got to" is the terminology I would use, uh, but that's a whole other conversation.
Yep. Yeah, but you're right, man. It's it's this is gonna be this is gonna be, I think, a situation where the Pistons themselves should be disappointed if they do not hit the ground running. One of the key things we talked about on the pod this week, Sean. Shout out from Half Court. You guys go check out Sean's channel as well and his latest content. But I also had him over here on the back end of the pod with Rod and I. And we talked about the fact that this team right now is going to have chemistry amongst the starters, which honestly, to me, helps to influence who should be starting. Because I think that this team has an opportunity based on the talent it has. If the Jeremy Grant, Kelly Olynyk, Sadiq Bey, Killian Hayes and Cade Cunningham and Isaiah Stewart Pistons could go on a 10-14 stretch post All-Star break. What can these, once they got their chemistry and their feet under them, what can these guys do? And so
Right.
with Cade and Jalen there getting that chemistry together, with Jaden doing his thing, getting that work in, with Bojan and Isaiah Stewart being able to kind of seamlessly fit into these lineups and Alec Burks and such, I believe this team has a good opportunity if they get that chemistry right to really hit the ground running. I'm not saying they're going to blow the doors out, as it relates to wins, but as it relates to the team that we kind of want to see, that semblance of, okay, they're playing the right way, they're competing every night. That stretch where we saw Cade going back and forth for stars his rookie season, and people like DeMar DeRozan, CP3, Kevin Durant on a nightly basis coming out saying, yeah, Cade is tough. Monty Williams in that same stretch, that's when he went and sent that text and a phone call to Troy Weaver, like, you got one with Cade Cunningham. I want to see them get back to that.
Even if they came out and started like 5-7, and like of those 7 losses, 5 or 6 of them are right down to the wire, super close game. And like if they can even just hover around 500 to start the season, be a team where like 15 games through, it's like, wait, the Pistons are in 7th? But you know what I mean? Like honest to God, like those are the things that start to build, like those are the building blocks. And I think what we were, ultimately told and what we learned this week is what we've known for the last few months. The Detroit Pistons have and continue to be the most underestimated team in the league, because I understand that people look at the record, the tutelage, the history, or lack thereof, of what the Pistons have had over the last few years.
Yeah.
This is a different group. This is a different guy. This is a different GM, different coach, different number 1 overall pick, different group of talent around him. Like, and again, when Cade is healthy, he has just as much of a chance, if not better of a chance, to be the next great American star than most of the guys active right now.
I like that. I like that. And you know what? I like to punctuate these points, and we said this on the show. Like, we're not doing this with just any old player, any old rookie, any guy we just like. This is Cade Cunningham, and I do believe that he deserves to be talked about in the same light that we talked about other young players before we saw them even really start to hit the ground running. We saw, and we understand it, man. We know how the media covers things. We understand that it's easy to kind of leave Detroit out or forget about Detroit, or just not have it kind of reticent on the mind unless it's winning. When they're winning, then they're instantly everybody's kind of favorite. But when they're losing, it's just kind of this thing that's like, oh, what?
Easy thing to dogpile on.
Yeah, easy. Watch when they're winning. How we see it already. They're not winning, but instantly, Cade has been this media darling all summer, because I believe that when you start to really zoom in on who Cade Cunningham is, when these guys during the summer are looking for content and they have to start profiling all the teams, and they know how they've ranked these players in previous drafts, ranked these players in previous little polls. Now they're all on the Pistons. What do you say when you're sitting there ranking the top up-and-coming teams, the top teams, top players, 25, under 25, and you have to sit there and put Cade, Ivy, Duran, Thompson, Wiseman? Then you start to sit there and realize, well, what happened to them? None of these guys played together? None of them played together, really?
Right.
Oh, snap. What could they be? Now nobody want to be wrong. Now nobody wants to be wrong now. So now you see people coming out saying things like, oh, Cade Cunningham is so good. We
I've
knew
always
that.
said that he's really talented.
People
It's like,
talking, but bro, my last thing on this point, this whole notion of we didn't see him play last year, so he was out of mind. Oh, wow, that's why we're jumping on the bandwagon. Y'all saw this man play his rookie season, break records and tie records that only Michael Jeffrey, you say it.
Mike, all right. Michael Jeffrey Mother Jordan.
Records only he broke, and y'all still ranked him second in the Rookie of the Year race? Third. Y'all are tripping. I don't even get like this.
Hey, Kool-Aid.
That's ignorant. Third.
Hey,
and you guys came up with all this weird excuses as to why this great player who got the invite to be on Team USA is third in the rookie race. Y'all are tripping. I'm sorry.
Kool-Aid.
And y'all got the head-to-head matchups. He dominated his rookie class, bro. I'm tired of the
All right, Kool-Aid. I have a question. Remove all bias that we have, okay?
no. No, okay.
When is the last time you've heard literally anything about Scotty Barnes? Oh, wait. Literally anything. He's not even brought up as a trade chip anymore. Whether that's because teams know not to trade for him, or maybe it's because they know teams aren't interested in trading for him. Which, by the way, I still think he can be a pretty solid NBA player. I'm still worried about him being the number one player they build around. I mean, watch this ultimately come back and bite me in the ass. And he's like, awesome. This is like my Sacramento Kings, Domantas Sabonis, one of the worst trades in NBA history takes. It comes back and but just saying, when has anyone said anything about Scotty Barnes?
They said Barnes is in trade rumors for Lillard.
Dude, Pascal Siakam was literally on the trading block like 2 days ago. Like it's
Man,
all like one of the
gotta
biggest
cool
stories. Like
down.
Pascal Siakam's probably going to Atlanta at some point. By the way,
Man.
a couple NBA things have been confirmed. Want to hear?
Yeah,
All right,
definitely, man. You're
all
an
right,
NBA guy.
all right. Opening night, October 24th, TNT. First two games have been confirmed. Lakers at Nuggets is the first game of the season, followed by Suns at Warriors. So we got some bangers to start out the season. And then Christmas Day, I mean, no surprise, Pistons are on Christmas Day, but it's Bucks at Knicks, Sixers at Heat, Celtics at Lakers, Mavericks at Suns, and Warriors at Nuggets.
Bro, that's a sexy lineup, man.
Isn't that a pretty lit lineup? We get Luka versus Devin Booker on Christmas Day. Santa's too good to us, man. My gosh.
I'm taking the over on that final score.
Oh,
Whatever it
you
is.
got to hammer that over.
Yeah.
When in doubt, whenever Luka Doncic is on the defensive end, hammer that over like a mother. It does look slim this year though, so we'll see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, QT. I look, man, we'll have some fun sometimes, but he's right. Like, what have we heard from him? I think he's gonna be a fine player. I think QT kind of put it right. I never bought into him being like that perennial all-star. You know what I mean? I can see him having an impact similar to like the one Tayshaun Prince had. You know, a guy who you could probably say he's a good player, two-way player, has an impact, probably needs a little bit more around him for that impact to truly and fully be felt and acknowledged.
Scotty Barnes is Cade Light. If you took out the leadership intangibles, if you took out the scoring ability, if you took away some of the decision making, like he has the vision, but the decision making isn't always quite there.
I love Sean.
You got Scotty Barnes. Tell me where the lie is.
They
Oh
say
yeah,
he's
and
almost Halle
if
Berry
you
in
forgot
church.
how to handle a
He's
basketball,
not Halle Berry in church, but
almost.
KDA on the roll tonight, dog.
He ain't even Oprah at Chick-fil-A.
Dog, you made me ugly laugh. Oh, snap, man. Snap.
Oh,
Like,
God.
yeah, I like Scotty Barnes as a player, but
Yeah.
in terms of like where we're talking, Sean, you're crazy, dog. When we're talking about man, Cade being as a player, it's just like it's different to me. It's way different. And when you look at the head-to-heads, when you look at everything he's able to do, like I said, I think defensively is where people are going to really see that Cade Cunningham is a difference maker. I don't think people have really given him that outside of kind of our media sphere. Outside of Detroit, I haven't heard many people talk about the type of impact he's made defensively outside of just kind of broadcast to broadcast.
Right. And again, there hasn't been, for a number of years, there's not been a lot of reasons to talk about, Pistons basketball, outside of the local sphere. However, I think if anything, what Cade did was begin to put us back on the map And I think as the season ends, I think we're gonna be like a number one contender to become like the new league pass darlings. Like I think when I look at like from a fan's perspective, what teams I would be most interested in watching on League Pass. Obviously, the Spurs because they have Wemby. I think of the Thunder because of
Mhm.
all the talent they have. You know, you gotta put the Pistons on that list because of Cade, Ivy, Duran, all the players that they have. I mean, I'm sure Houston's gonna be,
For the intrigue.
fireworks. Yeah,
Yeah.
you gotta watch that because even if it's a car accident, you can't really look away. You know what I mean? Like, but and even Portland with Scoot. But I mean, in all seriousness, like, those like Detroit is very much going to be one of those teams now where I think you have to consider them going forward. And I think, like obviously the biggest thing that people start doing whenever like you start seeing these guys at like Team USA is like, oh, well, maybe they'll recruit them to join them in their situation. Like, I think if anything, like I don't think Detroit has a whole lot to worry about because unlike a lot of franchises, I think they've shown Cade from day one that they're serious about building something around him for the long term. Like they went and got they went and at the time got the
Yeah.
highest paid coach in NBA history. They went and they went and got him multiple young lottery pieces to put around him. They made the hard decisions of shutting him down for the long term success and overall longevity and well being of his health.
Yeah.
Like and like from day one, he's wanted to be in Detroit, and they've capitalized on that. So I think, I just think there's a lot of reasons. Like again, like this is not a 17 win team based on the roster, and it's like
Nah.
if anything, these types of clips should make your mind more open to the reality and the possibility that this team could take a 12, 13, 14 win jump, get to
I'm
the 30 win mark. Like, and who knows? Like if Cade is the guy that we believe he is, why wouldn't they be in the conversation in April?
that's been my constant refrain is we have to look at this guy as a number one draft pick and hold him to those expectations based on the talent and based on what is supposed to come with that pick. But it just seems like nobody wants to do that as if the pick was just the wrong pick.
Well,
And
and
it's just
here's
like
the
I'm not
thing.
gonna do that.
I
I
would
think
be
that he was the right pick.
I would be reluctant with almost any other player to agree with you on that. But with Cade, I wholeheartedly agree because I think one thing that Cade has done really well compared to a lot of other players drafted in his position. A lot of guys want to be drafted number 1 overall, and then they're wowed by all the responsibility that comes in, all the appearances, how much is expected of you. Cade wanted all of that. Like he didn't just want to be drafted number 1 because he was the best player. No, he wanted to lead a franchise from day 1. He came in saying, "I want to be a franchise player." Everything that comes with that. I want to lead the organization. I want to be the player that they look to. I want to take the team on my shoulders. I want to be a part of the success. Like Cade
Yeah.
wants it from day 1. And so a guy who not only understands that at a young age, but also a guy who understands how to, manage and take care of his body to gain muscle mass and to not gain any weight and to look as good as he does and just the mature decisions he's making already, not going into Team USA knowing dang well he probably could have, but for the longevity of his career decided against it. Like again, there's a lot of and ultimately, you know, I know it was just summer league, but I will never forget, hearing Cade mic'd up, watching him like the first time, like seeing who he is as like a leader and the things that he does on the court on top
It's
of
impressive.
all of his skill sets and attributes of how awesome of a basketball player he is. Like it's just he's got the complete package, and like, that's why it's fair to hold him to those standards because he's holding himself to those standards. That's what he expects.
Yep. Yeah. I shout out to Charles. Yeah, I remember this. Kate was doing stuff like this all year. And I remember we did a whole segment where we shouted out and gave love and praise to Candace Parker because on the set she was like, "Why are we not talking about Cade Cunningham?" this guy's doing stuff for a whole month. It wasn't just a game.
I mean, with
It was a
peace
stat
and
line
love to
over a month.
TNT, Candace Parker is the only person in the studio that was watching NBA games. Like, I love Shaq. I love Chuck. Outside of the games that have been aired on TNT and in the playoffs, they have not watched a game in years. I am convinced. Like especially Shaq. There's just a lot of times that they talk about the league, and it's just like you really just don't pay attention. Like you really just don't know. And it's like one of those things where it's like, man, these are like, and it's kind of crazy, and you wonder why so many people have these crazy takes. But here's the thing, Kool-Aid. Here's the thing, Kool-Aid. You know who for the majority of America is their number one basketball analyst that they hear the most throughout the year?
Who?
Shaq, Charles Barkley, the Inside the NBA crew. Like that is for a lot of people the NBA discourse and NBA news that they get. And
You're right.
so when they're given that, that's what they're going to spew. Right? So like again, like they're insanely entertaining. One of the best shows in the history of sports television. You do not watch it for the analysis.
Yeah, that's a really good distinction. And you know what? I was chuckling earlier when you were talking about, the fear, the worry, the commonplace, or the history of players going to these kind of collaborative efforts and teaming up. You tell me this. What young core do you want to go team up with right now? It's the Troy Weaver of it all. Because you know what? I did hear this one report
Not
that
Charlotte.
Cade Cunningham was approached and talked to by somebody about teaming up. His name is Jalen Duren. Oh, he's there too. This is the Troy Weaver effect of it all. It's like, think about it. Who does he want to go play with? You want to go play with Ivy, Duren, Asar Thompson? Think about that. Now, when LeBron and these guys were going to these collaborative efforts, they were getting, they were trying to break through kind of some of those top teams like Indiana and the Pistons and the New Jersey Nets, and they were having a tough time at that point in time. I think at that point in time, who was the one that broke through? Dwayne Wade. He was the one that broke through. He won that championship in 06, and LeBron had a little bit of success, but he wasn't having championship success, man. Yeah. So, let me put this up. But
I mean, you could argue Troy Weaver was playing 4D chess here. He's like, you can't tamper with my players. You can't tamper with my players right in front of my face. You know what I mean? Like he was right there in person. But I mean, yeah, man, exactly. Like I think, the Pistons are building the infrastructure that can take in those players the easiest. And with the other young pieces that they're acquiring, like as much as we love a star, realistically, if we needed to go get a star, that's one other trade piece that we have available. On top of Jaden Ivey, on top of Isaiah Stewart. Like I ain't throwing Jalen Duren in there because I mean, no, but I mean that guy again, Godzilla versus Kong versus Jalen Duren. There's a reason. Guy's a monster. But like it's
And think about that. When these guys were going to these USA camps, they weren't seeing necessarily their star teammates or their up-and-coming teammates. Ivy has a good chance to be there. Asar Thompson has a good chance to be there in the future. They exactly fit the profile that Team USA likes for their players, especially Asar. They like those serious basketball players, those ones that can handle their business on and off the court in a bevy of ways and make sure that they can also, and we've seen this out of Asar Thompson. We saw it out of, briefly at Summer League, the ability to kind of fit in, the ability to adapt, the ability to lead, the ability to follow when you have to. Those are the types of players that mesh the best because of their versatility, their IQ, their connectability, their ability to, when they're on the court with other players, raise the production of everybody else around them. That's kind of what Team USA has always been about, and the Pistons have a makeup of guys like that. So when you're going to Team USA now, where realistically are you going to team up with? You know what I'm saying? It's like you're hoping that your guys like Ivy and Duren are there with Cade, and guess what? This year you got a Duren there.
Right.
That's huge. That's a testament to what Troy Weaver's building.
Right. Again, it's going to happen way less now because of the way the salary cap's going to be, with the way the the collective bargaining agreement shook out. But if there's a team that would be in position to do it over the next few years, it ain't the Nets. I'll say that much. It ain't the Nets.
What's good, Doug? Man, we've had a lot of our regulars in here tonight, man. I just wanted to make sure I shout you out, Doug. He's been somebody that definitely tries to encourage behind the scenes as well. And I appreciate it a ton. I really do, man. But
Yeah,
this gets me thinking though, when we talk about the starters and the closers and whatnot, Cade Cunningham has a lot at his disposal. We often have referenced that Hoops Hype article that Bojan Bogdanovic was quoted in, saying that everything was supposed to revolve around and was built up to revolve around Cade Cunningham in this offense. So when he went down, realistically, the team's expectations and things of that nature went down as well. You know,
yeah.
so you know, so I wanted to be able to get to you on this aspect of like the starters and the closers and what realistically you believe Cade has around him as it relates to what weapons, what disposals, what things do you kind of want to see out of the starters that go around Cade Cunningham?
Yeah, I mean, I think with the starting lineup, I think it's important to remember that especially with this team, it's going to be fluid. It's not going to be, like what the starting lineup is day one. I'm going to wager will not be the same starting lineup that will close the season. I think the biggest thing, especially at the beginning of the year, they're gonna have to strike this balance of being able to score while at the same time maintaining that identity on the defensive end of the court. And I know a lot of people are excited with where Sar's at, myself included. But I think the reality is, especially with the talent that we have on the roster, it would take a lot for him to beat out Bojan Bogdanovic to start day one. And Isaiah Stewart is probably not going to be on the bench day one either. So again, like if we're betting, what's starting the season is Cade, Ivy, Bojan, Beef Stew, Jalen Duren. But then beyond that, we talk about who's closing games. I think you're going to see a SAR being thrown into critical game situations quickly because I think they're going to trust him. And I think for all intents and purposes, especially with how much they want to do, I think, you know, I think they believe in him, and I think those will be good reps for his development. So I think throughout the season, I want to see, I want to see how Cade and Ivy play together in closing situations in crunch time as the game slows down a little bit. I'm interested to see how the spacing works when Cade, Ivy, and Asar are all on the court together. But ultimately, I think what you see is that Cade does have a variety of weapons around him. He does have a levy of shooters. He has a levy of lob threats. He has a levy of
Mm,
pick and roll partners. I think for the first time in a long time, Cade
boy,
has some talent around him. So, it's just seeing what they can really do with it.
I love that you pointed out that they not only increased the level of 3-point shooting around Cade, but the level of athleticism around Cade and the level of playmaking around Cade. So some of the reports that we saw come out of Team USA is that Cade Cunningham got a little bit bigger, but he can still get anywhere he wants on the court. And like you astutely pointed out, it's not just for absorbing the content, but also the punishment he's also able to dish out. And they stated that he was specifically going at Jalen Brunson in the paint. If he can do things like play with his back to the basket, not, in certain lineups that allows you to kind of just get the ball and go. If Asar Thompson can handle the ball and can play make, and you got it, you don't really want the Killian Hayes effect where, oh, okay, where you at? Let me give it to the point guard or whoever's bringing it here. You want them to just go. And if Cade has a mismatch against a point guard in that type of matchup, dump it right down to him. Like I am excited for everything that they have around Cade and how he's going to be able to now utilize everything. And these other players are going to be able to look at what Cade's doing and be able to do the same with the profile of kind of astute role players.
You ever just watch players and you can kind of like as like you watch their game, like you can see their internal monologue. Like with Cade, you can just go out there as like, I'm gonna get there. You can't stop me. I'm gonna do whatever I
Yes.
want. Ivy's
Yes.
like, Ivy's like, I'm gonna kill. It's time to kill. And then Cade and Killian's like, hey guys, so I'm bringing out the ball. Does anyone maybe wanna anyone maybe want Like, what's that? You want me to go shoot? Killian, you've wasted 11 seconds in the shot clock already. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. Let me just dribble, shoot. Oh,
Look,
dang it.
look, bro, and you're dead serious? Because whatever Killian was in preseason when he was tied for field goal attempts and like field goal percentage and points with Cade and Ivy through that preseason, please find that Killian if he's going to get any minutes this year. Because if he's going to get minutes and that Killian's not on the court, you're going to ruin your actual trade value if he's still in this roster, like come the season. Like, find whatever that guy was that we said. You put him in that Cade role and watch him go. The problem is when Cade went down, he just got worse in every other role he was in. And if he's going to be a player that's only good when Cade's there, I'm sorry, we cannot take plummets like we did this season when Cade goes out. We need guys like Asar. Doesn't strike me as a guy who's like, you know what, Cade's out, let's take a dive, guys. We don't need that on the squad, man. No matter how much I want to see this guy succeed, we need better. Let me see what you got up here. I'm gonna shout
He's
out
still
some of these
better than
people.
Javier Baez.
Woo! Oh my gosh, Sean, that actually caught me off guard, bro.
I saw this gif. You saw the 50 Cent pitch where like the 50 Cent first pitch where it's all over. It's like,
Yeah, this is
man,
a great edit, dog.
I mean, like, man, Javi really would swing at that, wouldn't he?
I was like, God, that caught me off guard, bro.
Like one man's trash is Javi's like down the middle. You know what I'm saying?
Bro, this is awesome, dog. This is hilarious. Shout out Limu. He says, I'm a regular too. I just don't comment much, but know that this is the best show on YouTube.
Hey, we appreciate you, man, for real. Appreciate all the regulars, everyone that comes in here, man.
Yep, and we're about to, like I said, flip things a little bit here. You're going to see Sean and I over here a little bit more, talking a little bit more sports. Still Pistons going to be our mainstays, but we're going to start to get Lions in here. And, I wanted Sean to just wrap because we kind of feel the same on this. So that's why I'm glad that you just kind of went and talked about the starters and the closers. We pretty much have the same lineups. We on this thing, we've kind of just looking at the lineups, kind of our perspective on it. So I think you wrapped it up well. But Sean, what do we have tomorrow, bro?
Man, first preseason game. Lions back at it. Dude, we get to see that beautiful Honolulu blue again. And it's like, I remember this time last year. It's just like, no question about it. I'm ready to be hurt again, excited to be disappointed, Whereas this year, it's like, I'm expecting good things. Like, I'm excited. Like,
it feels weird. It's like, I don't know what to do with my hands.
Yeah, but
like, what do we do now, bro?
What I'll say though, man, is like the thing that excites me the most is that, and again, it's just training camp. So you don't, you take some of it with a grain of salt. You want to see how they perform when it actually gets to Sunday. But I think everything we've been seeing out of Brian Branch, everything we've been hearing about Jahmyr Gibbs, everything we've been, the clips I've been seeing of Aiden Hutchinson, there's a lot of reasons to believe in what they're building. I think there's a hell of a lot of talent. I'm just excited to see them getting on the field. And I think the biggest thing that's going to be important to remember is that if we get out to a slow start and lose game 1 of this season on opening night, Kool-Aid, who are we playing opening night again?
Who we got? The Chiefs?
Oh yeah, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Super Bowl champions in Arrowhead. That's right.
Okay. I think we'll survive.
Oh, we'll survive. We'll survive. But like, if we don't perform to people's expectations, this isn't 0-16 territory. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think
don't jump off the bandwagon just yet, people. It's like, this is a season that the Lions are playing with expectations, which is a little bit different because we felt like we've had expectations before, but those expectations before were like, make the wild card, maybe. This is a season where the team has the talent, the coaching, honestly, the fortitude from the front office and the ownership group, where everything is in sync the way that a regular organization should be working, and we're just not used to seeing it like that here. We're just not. So it feels weird. I don't know what we're supposed to be doing. I'm somewhere in between trying to aptly cover them, and like oh my gosh, like what's going on? The Lions are like in a like big boy NFL teaming right now.
Right.
I don't know what's going on, but I'm excited for it. I'm
Right.
ecstatic for it. And I do it's similar like with the Pistons, with where they are in their stage with this first game against the Chiefs in a couple weeks. You want to see the Lions just go out there and look like the team we think they are, whether they win or lose or draw. I want to see them have to get beat if they lose because Mahomes did some Mahomes magic. Not because we went out there and fell flat on our face or one of our
Right.
position groups that we're supposed to depend on just absolutely didn't do what they're supposed to do. So
You don't want them to beat you don't wanna see us beat ourselves.
yeah, not at all. Not at all,
Right.
man. But I'm ecstatic, man. We got the Giants tomorrow. Not expecting much.
Yeah.
Couple short preseason games, and then, man, the real shebang.
Yeah, I mean,
Hey,
with preseason, it's hard to, think about what to actually take away. I think, especially with the fact that you're seeing less and less starters playing less and less minutes. I think it's just really difficult to see. I mean, I think Detroit will send out their guys for at least, a couple of series, but at the same time, I'm just curious to see some of our depth, to see, how like, just overall how our defense is looking day one, just how comfortable the offense really is looking. I think, another guy that, we talk about all the time, yet at the same time feels like we don't talk about enough. Amon-Ra St. Brown feels like he is in for a gigantic season.
ooh,
Like,
boy, you talk about a guy who I continue to think, oh, sweet, we have our like number 2 or number 3 receiver of the future, and it's just like Amon Ra is realistically sitting here saying, guys, I am literally just a top wide receiver. Whoever else
he's
you
like,
want to
I
get to
am
put
the
around
one,
me,
the one, the one.
fine. Yeah, he's just like that to me is awesome because we've seen these types of receivers come in here with certain expectations eh, uh, from the Ryan Broyles to the Titus Youngs. Amon Ra is the one who kind of was in that mold to me that is realistically like, yo, I'm going to play above anything you guys thought. Like he's to me trending to be a lot better than I ever thought he could be.
I
Just
think, I think he's going to be like top 5, top 10 receiver in the league this year type conversation.
I
And
don't think
it,
you're
it's
wrong,
it's
brother.
it's just how versatile he is, right? Like you can play him in the slot, you can put him on the outside, he can beat you in man. He's great as a route runner. The dude's just a freaking ball hawk. He works his ass off. Like he's just he's just a stud.
Yep. Yeah. Hey, look at Jalen, dog. He said, Lions talk, feed me more. Bro, listen, I'm telling you, things are gonna change a little bit. You know, you're gonna be always involved. Jalen, shout out to him, man. Everybody on the squad. He's just kind of holding down in their own respective lanes tonight. Jalen's out on that photo shoot. I know Steve is holding it down right now in the academia world, but we can't wait to get our guys back. I know around Pistons season, everybody is going to be kind of back at the table again, and we should have some new digs by that time too. But look, man, I'm we're gonna start having more and more more and more Lions talk on this kind of platform as well because this was fun, man. I like it. I like it. I agree with Jalen. Lions talk, feed me more. And I think that it's what Detroit fans are. Most Detroit fans, whether they are professional, knowledge based thinkers of our sports teams, we pretty much have a connection on all of our sports teams here. We'll even, some of us even remember like the Vipers and some of our other, less heralded teams. A lot of us support the soccer out here. It's, and all the college teams, man. Go to that Wayne State area and some of our other local colleges. It's a beautiful place to be, and I'm glad to be able to kind of talk even more sports here with you, brother.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm gonna say this much. People, when I started trying to talk football, people would be like, "Ah, stick to basketball." We won't be hearing that for long. So, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, this has been another episode of Woodward Pistons Table Talk. Thank you all
uh,
so much for tuning in, being a part of it, being the third and fourth chair on
uh,
the table. Be sure you follow us on X at Detroit Kool-Aid and myself on X at Sean Half Court. Also, be sure you check, Kool-Aid's workout on Woodward Sports and follow
thank
Woodward
you.
Sports on X. But with that, guys, thank you all so much for tuning in. We will catch you guys next time from Woodward Pistons Table Talk. Be
Follow
sure
Chano from
to
half court.
subscribe.
You ain't getting out of here like that, bro. Y'all go follow, like, subscribe, and support from half court. Sean has a lot of good content there, and I love the NBA focus that he has, NBA perspective that he covers, even the Pistons from. So I like it. Like, obviously here on this channel, I'm gonna be a little bit more zoomed in, Piston centric, and Sean has a focus that kind of incorporates even more of how the Pistons kind of scape against the backdrop of the rest of the NBA, and I really like their focus. Troy, Jeff, and whatnot. I like it, bro. Keep doing what you're doing. Like I said, I'm proud of you. You've built something pretty powerful. And you got a lot of people, like I said, that depend on seeing your face, man, every week and hearing your takes. And if none of you guys out there do, I'm at least one of those people, Sean. So I
I
appreciate what you bring
appreciate
to
it,
the
man.
table, brother.
I appreciate it, man. Y'all take care. Have a good night. We'll catch you guys next time.
Peace out. Till next time, you guys, man. Love you guys and blessings.